I'm Ari, and welcome to Remote Pilots Australia. And we're working. Okay. All right, gentlemen and ladies, anyone who's watching, just preparing chat and whatnot. I'm sorry I'm late today. I was helping Val on her channel evaluate Zoom software, and that ran over time. As a matter of fact, as everybody is there, hey, Dennis, hang on, mate, I'll stick a link in there for you. Okay, and there you are. Although everybody's in with Val, so I don't think we're going to have too much company. That's fine by me. We can make ourselves a nuisance just by ourselves. And Mel's online. Now, how coincidental is that Mel comes online precisely when I do? That's typical of my luck. Never mind. And Mel's online. Now, how coincidental is that Mel comes online precisely when I do? That's typical of my luck. Never mind. Okay, and how are you, Dennis?
I'm Mel's online. Trying to get my act together.
Trying to mute me. I don't listen to me. Nobody wants to listen to me. Why should I listen to me?
I have too many windows open. And I'm caffeinated. A rare moment of caffeination here that's got me a little jittery.
Not a problem. There is a link above you, John, if you'd like to come in on the panel. Not a problem. Yeah, look, that's a... I have come across Zoom software, of course, before. I think... I can't think who it is. The video call-in show, somebody uses it, but I haven't used it before. It's very practical.
I like it. It was okay. It didn't give me 100% what I wanted, but it gave me more than Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts disappointed me because I couldn't do anything. It was useless to me, except for like talking to you as a guest.
What did you want out of it that it didn't give?
What's that?
What was it that you wanted from Hangouts that you weren't able to get?
Oh, I couldn't have a guest. It didn't do anything for me because of a Mac.
Yeah, exactly. That platform. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, so this lets me have a guest.
I found I was able to eventually to get most of what I wanted out of Hangouts with other software like r.p.a.s and so forth. Might be a bit more restrictive on the Mac, as you say. And look, I'm sure the same will hold true with Zoom. I've been playing with it, all of 30 minutes. So it'll take me a while to get my head around it. The main attraction for me and people like me is the high performance on limited bandwidth. However, you are correct in that it's the opposite. When you're a client on Zoom, you feed your OBS into Zoom so that your OBS overlay is in in the chat which you join. But when you're hosting, you do it the other way around. Because Zoom doesn't allow a direct connection. You make the connection with OBS and feed it into it. So I would still have to look at bandwidth settings and so forth within OBS to see how I can make it work. I may end up still having to use a 4G connection. It'd be nice to be able to do it over the dial-up, the ADSL.
Dial-up. I have 1 hour left, more or less.
And then that's it for today?
And that's it for the week. I don't think work till Friday. It's Sunday. This is my Friday.
Fine. Yep. Well, actually, no, it's Monday. Keep up, America.
I can't. We tried.
Yeah, I hear. So it's good. And you're catching up with Ron tomorrow. Do you have anything planned on where you're going to go and what you're going to do?
Nope. I simply told him to send me a link, send me where he wants me to be and what time to be there, and I will be there. He's staying in a place called the Dells. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from here. So.
Oh, that's good. I had the weekend
leaving at a time. I'll make sure to get there for breakfast.
Of course, it's always a good time to be there. I had the weekend from hell as far as schedule goes. I had Dad over on the Saturday, and Dad ate up most of that. And then yesterday, I had to wash three cars, and then I had to go and pick up my foster daughter. She was over at Cleveland Bay, which is sort of like a 40-minute run, and then she was staying there with another young lady from school that I know, a young thing about 15, very pretty, and her parents wanted her to catch the train home to the Gold Coast, which is sort of like 2.5, 3 hour run on the train at night through some very non-salubrious areas, and it was storming like hell. I had rain and hail and so forth. So, yeah, I wasn't comfortable with that. So I said, I'll run you home. So that was a 120-mile trip to the Gold Coast
and back.
Yeah, and then back. So by the time I got home, it was well and truly after dark, and I was absolutely shattered. John's getting buffering. I'm streaming off 4G, so not on my home internet. It's the best I can do, John. I don't know whether it's from me upwards or from YouTube to you downwards.
It's my fault.
You're hanging on the outside here is going away later this year. For quick streaming, try YouTube webcam. Yeah, that's going to be quite difficult for a lot of people, and apparently they're expecting it to be switched off outside of the United States before it is in the US. I'll look at that later. Well, apparently I'll look at that now. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, go away. I like that about YouTube. They know what I want, even if I don't.
Do they? That's good. I don't.
Well, I think they do. They think they do.
I want to get out of here. They just ordered a patient that's routine, and I don't really want to go up and do it.
Well, if you've got to do it, you've got to do it.
No, I don't have to do it. The person who relieves me gets here in like a half an hour, and this was just ordered a few seconds ago, and the people that bring the patients down are quite tied up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna just say, but I figure by the time it gets here, that person will be walking in the door, and nobody wants to get dumped on when they walk in the door. The only thing they have to do is one study. I have cleaned house. Everything is taken care of. So
Has it been a busy shift?
No, not like yesterday. Yesterday was horrible. Horrible. I did like a normal day's work here today, which is weird.
Is it a private hospital, Dennis?
I don't know the answer to that. I think most of them are here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a private hospital?
Yeah, of course. You have Obamacare, but you don't have anything like. I think you have Obamacare, but you don't have anything like we have here in Australia. Everybody has access to free hospital. And about 65 or 70% of our hospitals are public hospitals. Anybody can rock up there and get free treatment, and they, basically only the rich and wealthy have private care.
And I bet you their private care still isn't as expensive as our basic raping that we get for basic. You know what I mean?
Well, there was a thing in the paper about it last week. Apparently, you can still pay $100,000 to have a brain tumor removed.
Yeah, well, that would be millions here.
Really?
Yeah. So
in other words, most people just die.
I plan on just dying. I'm not going to spend money on. I'm not going to because these people, they end up losing every. You get sick once, you lose every penny you have, and then you die in poverty. I'd rather, I'll just make sure my family still has money. Unless there's 100% chance of me recovering from something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let them poke and prod at me.
Well, I've been very lucky. I've had pretty much all of the procedures I have had done under the public system. I have not had to put my hand into it. Mind you, of course, a lot of that I picked up in service of the government, so that's fair enough. The US should have universal healthcare. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We are fairly heavily taxed here in Australia, and but we get a lot of bang for our buck, I suppose. And it's interesting to note it's one of the Scandinavian countries. I'm not sure whether it's Denmark or one of those. It is the highest tax country in the Western world, but it has the highest level of happiness. So maybe they get something for their money.
People are confusing taxes with. I mean, if you're getting stuff for your money, they have. I know I can't remember what country you're talking about either, but their school ends at the 9th grade. And after that, it's what everybody else would consider college.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to spend the rest of your life digging ditches, you don't need to be failing trigonometry and getting in the way of everybody who's trying.
Yep.
And so it filters out all the people that really don't need to or want to be there.
Yeah. School falls under what I call the 90-10 rule, and a lot of software is like that. And 90% of the people are only going to use 10% of what they get out of it. Only 10% of the people will use 90% of what you get out of it. And, they're overeducated for what they want to do. And you learn a lot of subjects that you have no need to know. But here in Australia, we have free hospital. We have a very good social security system. It does get rorted. This is an issue with anything that's, hey, Mark, how are you, my friend? It's been ages since I've seen you. I'll pop a link in there again in case you want to come in and make our happy lives miserable. We have the free hospital. We have free schooling up to university level, after which the government will give them a loan, at which point they only have to pay back once they start earning above, I think it's 60, 70,000 a year. Social security, if you're injured, or if you're unemployed, provided you can demonstrate that you applied for X amount of jobs per week, they will leave you on unemployment forever. There are people, and obviously they're rorting the system in a lot of cases, but there are people who've been on unemployment benefits for 20 years. Okay, you don't live high on the hog, but you live. You can put a roof over your head and food on the table.
But Australia has something that America doesn't, that I think a lot of Americans want, and that is, it's really hard to become a citizen of Australia. To come into the country, you need to have a trade, a skill, even just get work visas. They don't want you just wandering in. Vacation's one thing, but yeah, it's. I heard about it a couple of years ago. I don't know if it's still the same, but
it is to an extent. Hang on a second, I need to cough. It is to an extent, however, when you put it in perspective, they expect our population to hit 25 million this year. We don't have a huge economy. We no longer have a domestic automotive industry at all. There's no manufacturers in the country at all. Our shipbuilding industry is gone. Our arms industry is gone. Our aircraft industry is gone. Most of our population is employed in the service industry. We do a lot in medical research and that sort of thing, but that doesn't employ great numbers of people. So a lot of people characterize the fact that we don't let people in without necessary skills as being protectionist. It's really a case of we just don't have anything for you to do. Hello, Peter. How are you, my friend? There's a link up above you if you want to jump in. Hey, Mark, you're with us. If you want to jump on the panel, feel free. How are you today, Mark?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. That was fairly impressive run for Zoom over on Val's channel.
Yes, I had to take care of a few things, and I think they're still running right now. But I got done with my stuff, and I saw you were on, so I figured I'd pop over here if that's okay.
You're always welcome. Always welcome.
Cool.
I don't think I'm going to get. Oh, hello, Brent. Once again, mate, there's a link up above you. If you can't see it, let me know, but feel free to drop in if you'd like. I don't think I'll get a big crowd today. They're all over there playing Zoom, but that's all good.
Yeah, I mean, 10 minutes of Zoom, and I think I got it. I guess as a teacher, I'm going to probably stick with Skype because it's cheaper, it's free.
Yeah.
And I really think that most of the issues people had with that, and I'll put it to rest because this isn't a public service announcement here. I think it has more to do with your bandwidth and your processor and your computer, which is why people are dropping stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I don't think I'll have an issue with it. So, but then again, if I drop a call, I'll just have to put up with it. How you doing, Nacho? How you doing, man?
Good. I was wondering if any of you guys have tried Discord for that.
I have not tried Discord, so I can't.
Because I'm hearing the gamers use Discord, and it works. It's what's nice about Discord is it's very, very, very low resource.
Yep.
And that's why gamers use it. And I know they have video options, so I'm just wondering if we wouldn't want to give that a try one night.
I'd be willing to try anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm not married to anything, but
Discord is free. Well, see, my problem is I'm a Mac user.
You're a what?
So, a Mac user.
Yeah, a Mac.
And that.
Yeah, a laptop or a desktop.
MacBook Pro.
MacBook Pro. Yeah, I used a MacBook Pro and I was using OBS and Skype, and it just beat the heck out of it. It just couldn't handle it. So
I did a very successful Zoom stream tonight. I think so.
Zoom is less. Yeah, Zoom is less demanding. Yeah.
So. The lack of virtual camera support on Mac is an issue. As far as Discord goes, the issue is whether Discord won't be able to make a connection into YouTube for streaming. So you're still going to have to use OBS or another shell to do the connection for you. And that then you're left looking at, is there a means by which a GDI or whatever to import the video from Discord into OBS? There is for Skype. I know that for a fact.
And I got to say again, Nacho, I know I said it in chat before, nice job on the Canadian Drone Hub logo.
Go ahead, finish.
Yes, Peter, it will run a webcam.
What do you mean finish? Finish that I'm complaining about what I have to do now?
Yeah.
Can I share my screen for a second?
Go.
Sure. Okay, I got to figure out how to do this. How the hell do I share screen on Google?
Pull down the bottom of your bottom of your Hangout screen and your YouTube screen, and you'll have the option.
There it is. Okay, there we go.
Left inside.
Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
It's not a final draft yet, Nacho, but I'm working on this thing so I can 3D print his logo. So thanks a lot, man. It's not that maple leaf is not the easiest thing to recreate on a CAD program. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I can send you the file, the Photoshop file, if that helps. We
I'm not well versed in this CAD program to be able to import traits. I might be able to, but if you want to send it to me, sure. But I'm almost there with it anyway. But the maple leaf's got a long way to go. But I think the drone's okay. I got to get the lettering in there, but no, it looks really good. I think it looks really good. Nice work.
Funny, it was just something I threw together, and I don't think I worked on that for like 7 or 8 minutes. I was just watching the feed and doodling on the computer. That's how I kind of like. That's why some people hate me because I'm always doing stuff in the background.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best. Sometimes the best work comes out of something that quick. So
I did Ari's live too. Like when we were talking. Ari stepped out, and I was talking to Thomas, and I just threw it together. It just happens when I'm in the mood. It goes great. That's why I dabble.
Yeah. If you're ever watching Roger's live stream again, just look in the back. You'll see this little red dot, and that's the 3D logo I printed for him. You can't make it out, but this one should stand out a little bit better with multicolor on it. I just gotta finish the
3D shortly. And I'm just going to answer Peter Carroll here. Yes, a 2012 i5 will have enough processor power to run on webcam. Don't get overly sucked into what to buy. Certainly do not buy a 4K webcam. It's pointless. As far as YouTube goes, anyway, they only let you stream in 720. The YouTubers, Twitch's cam of choice these days appears to be the Logitech C922. You still find the C920 in its predecessor for sale, and they're around $100 Australian, and they're capable of 1080. So, and that's what I'm using. Seems to be doing the job quite well.
When I used at home was like $20 from Amazon.
Yeah, I think the one I'm working right now off of is the Logitech 922. To be honest with you, the one that you're watching me on.
Yep. I haven't bothered trying the background replacement, the digital green screen yet. I haven't heard any good reports over it, and that's not what I bought it for anyway.
No. I tried, and it wasn't that user-friendly. I stuck with OBS on that.
I'm not saying that Dennis watches a clock or anything, but, gee, it's almost time to go home, isn't it?
I have technically an hour, but the person who relieves me comes in really early, and she always says, "Go if you want." And you know what I'm going to do?
Go. I don't blame you.
Today was a really, really easy day, but the last 2 days were horrible. Matter of fact, I wasn't even sure how I was going to make it through today. I was coming in and I'm like, I don't know how to make it another one of these days.
Well, you got my interest peaked there, Dennis. What do you do, if I may ask?
I cover an ultrasound department.
Okay.
On weekends, that in like a 600 bed hospital, which means I work from the second I'm the only person here for ultrasound, which means I work from the ER itself is 100 beds, and I just work from the second I walk in the door to the second I leave most days.
Oof.
Hi, Trevor. Welcome to the stream. I just gave you a wrench, and there's a link in there in the chat if you want to join the panel.
But I'm not in any hurry to do any more work. There's only one case to do. It just popped up a few minutes ago. And the transporters have been horrible. So I've been doing everything portable, and I don't feel like doing any more portables today. And the transporters are tied up. So there's no way they're going to get it here in time for me anyway. So, but I still feel bad about not doing it, even though it's like one of the easiest cases we do. The next person's got all night to do it.
You got a hard day. I have, when I finish streaming, I have to load a server with server 2003. Would you believe?
I've used that. That's what my photo trailer used to run on.
I've used 2003 for years on older server machines. Really, it's hard to beat on a 32-bit processor. I have used server 2008 R2, which was the last 32-bit version, but I'd rather use 2003. Of course, the problem is that support for them has finished, so no critical security updates or anything like that, so you've got to be fairly careful. But that's to go on one of my mini servers, and they're old software, and they only support, because of the chipset on the motherboard, they only support a maximum of 2 gigs of RAM. So you're pretty limited with what you can run. But they're only file servers and web servers, so that's all I got to do.
I wonder if there's any hardware solution besides getting a Windows computer for me. Like if there's some kind of little USB-C mixer that I can plug in, that'll be
there are
hardware camera.
Yeah, there are several, but whether they got Mac support and software is another matter. But I know of several that quite a few of the YouTubers use them as opposed to a software solution.
Because I would rather a hardware solution, because it seems to
quite a few of them use them as opposed to a software solution.
Look at him all gussied up. You want to play cards tonight, buddy? Look at him. Fancy shirt.
You need to turn up the volume on that shirt, Trevor. I don't think it's loud enough.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
where's he keep the battery? So I want to know.
It's
I'm waiting for the things to start to move.
And so, Mark, you're not currently? Yeah, you are currently at work. No, it's Sunday. You're not at work, right?
No, it's Sunday night. It's currently 9 p.m. where I am, and I have about a week and a half left of school, and then a week and a half off. Then I start teaching summer school.
Geez, you must be keen, or don't you get a choice in it?
Oh, I get a choice. I get a choice.
Can you hear me there, boys?
Can
Yes.
do.
Can
Yes.
do.
Yes.
I get a choice, but the only problem is I go from one extreme to the other. I go from teaching calculus and pre-calculus to teaching, how should I say, the lesser motivated students that wind up in summer school.
Is summer school sort of generally used as a remedial? So we don't have anything similar to that. Is it a remedial type of arrangement for kids who haven't done too well through the rest of the year?
It's because of the lack of funding. It's really geared more towards courses that students need to actually graduate. So they're kind of motivated knowing that if they don't complete these courses and stay on track, they may not graduate on time. So it's strictly just for that.
You know, and Dennis and I were talking about this just before you came in, you know, on the basis of, you know, we have free hospital, free education, social security, this sort of thing. But, you know, not every kid needs to do calculus or,
no.
You know, I sort of call it, I don't know if you're in the channel, but I refer to it on the 90-10 rule, which is 90% of people only need to really learn 10% of what's offered and vice versa. You know, my foster son, he's somewhere on the autistic spectrum. Great kid, very talented in some areas, just naturally talented, but he utterly struggles, and it's not through being lazy, with mathematics. And I've tried. I'm not a teacher, of course, but I'm not silly either. But he has a great deal of difficulty. And what I've ended up saying to him is, look, you know, he's got 1 year to go before he finishes high school. We did 12 years in schooling. I just told him, I'm not going to push you on to university, but I want him to do his best, complete his year 12, simply for the point of view of his resume. And then I've told him we'll address his shortcomings one subject at a time in technical college. And you know, the aim is just to give him what he needs to follow his career path.
Yeah, our system, at least I can only speak about New York State, is very archaic, and they push kids that don't need certain courses into these courses, and it's all about numbers and getting kids to go to university, and it's about not even getting them into a university that's going to serve them right. They just want to be able to say, we got so many kids who go to 4-year universities and get their bachelor's degree or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, and no offense to anybody who's got one, but you know, to say that, yeah, I've got a 4-year degree in art history, but then what do you do with it afterwards? You know, I mean, these kids don't, they got the degree, but they wind up not being able to use it for anything productive or useful because there's not a lot of jobs for that and open for it. So
we have exactly the same thing. We have kids here with 2 or even 3 degrees and they can't get employment.
Right.
But mind you, we have a shortage of tradespeople.
Well,
and,
so do we.
You know, this, yeah, our government
here in Australia, we had a lesson where it was called r.p.a.s, where it was innovated because it was called active creative education, where we were allowed to opt out of classes that were not useful for us to go to that one class and spend sometimes the whole day doing things that we needed to do to set us up for work or our career path that we choose, which was very successful, and it's still going, I believe, because
not here, Trev.
In our school it worked, and it was brilliant.
It's a good thing to have. I think that we had a prime minister just before the turn of the millennia, you know, announced that we were no longer going to be the lucky country, we were going to be the smart country. And since then, they've basically got this blind, headlong rush to make sure that every child goes to university. And everyone can't go to university. And as far as the education system goes, I'm pretty sure it's the same there. They're yet to come to the conclusion that one size does not fit all. And they need to tailor. I know for a fact, unless he comes into the drone business with me, my son's going to end up in a trade, and he'll probably end up making more money that way than somebody with a degree in the current climate. One thing he was looking at for a while there, I don't know whether he's still interested, which was becoming a blacksmith. Now, you might wonder, why would you ever want to do that? But there's only
I want to be one.
There's only 3 of them in Queensland, and they're over here. You know, they mostly what they do now is make wrought iron work for old buildings being restored.
Yes, that's what they do here.
They've got 18 months of work backed up, waiting for them, and they're making money like you wouldn't believe. They're earning $150,000 a year, more than a doctor.
They do a lot of staircase balustrades and things like that.
Yep.
They're very, very creative.
I went and visited just to kind of piggyback on that, I went and visited a very technical place, a place called Tech Air, where they manufacture aircraft parts, and we actually but we actually make parts for Japan for their Learjets. Oddly enough, it's usually the other way around, and they do some military stuff, and they can't find people to run their machinery, their CNC machines and stuff. And we have very good trade schools here that 2-year, right out of high school, they'll train you. You'll get a job making really good money, really, really good benefits. And the problem is, and I hate to throw my colleagues under the bus, but our guidance counselors don't like to send kids to 2-year schools because it doesn't look good.
Look, I used to volunteer here. Now, obviously, I have no teaching credentials whatsoever. However, after I was retired, no one would employ me full time. I had a friend of mine who's a teacher, and she worked at a rural school, and they couldn't get somebody. They had trouble getting somebody to be teacher's aide in charge of IT, run all the school's computers, which I ended up doing for them for about 6 or 8 months, while they were finding somebody who could do it. And part of it was because it was a rural school out in the country. I had to do playground duty, and occasionally I even had to hold the fort for a class if a teacher had a day off. And most other substitutes just kept the class entertained and not rowdy, but I used to like to keep them going on track. And then after I finished there, I used to volunteer where my kids went to school, and they literally used to fight over me. The teachers, mainly for 2 reasons. One, we have almost no men in the education system here anymore, because all men are pedophiles, basically. So, and of course the teachers wanted male role models, and I consider myself one. That's the term they used in their classes. But also they couldn't get good help. And what I used to do was I'd do remedial. I would sit at the back of the class around a round desk with 5 or 6 kids. And generally speaking, I was teaching basic mathematics, basic English, basic geography, long division, multiplication, this sort of thing. And
yay, fractions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, percentages. And the average I'm not talking about your age, Mark, but the ones that are coming out of teachers college now at 23, 25, they can't spell. And they can't do basic maths.
No, they can't do basic maths at all. It's ridiculous. I mean, this year we have these what are referred to as Texas Instruments. They're called Inspired. These calculators, if you know how to use them, they'll make you breakfast in the morning. I mean, they're just, integrals, limits, you name it, they can do it. We've had them for years, and the kids have gotten so used to them. And they got to me this year, both my pre-calc and calc class. And the first thing I told, they all went reaching for the calculators, and what I didn't tell them was I didn't charge them. So they all went to go turn them on, and they're like, "These aren't charged." I said, "You're right, and they're not going to be charged till the end of the year. If you want to use a calculator, there's 4 function calculators in the back. Use those." And they all about panicked.
Good value.
Because those calculators can do fractions. They can convert decimals to fractions, fractions to decimals. They can do all of that and simplify radicals. You name it, they can do it. And they all panicked. And I said, "You're not going to believe this, at least not now." But I said, "I'm doing you a favor," and they hated it. But I actually had a few students by the end of the year thank me for it, especially when they went to go take their placement exams in college. Because they couldn't use those calculators. They had to do certain conversions, and they knew how to do it. And I said that, and they not only that, they knew how to think through problems without just graphing it and looking at the picture. They could analyze a graph without having to see the graph, which is what they're supposed to be able to do in calculus. So it was an experiment, and I'm going to do it again next year. God help me.
Well, Dennis just put a comment here, which is very, very, very pertinent, which is PEMDAS's life. Now, most people in Australia wouldn't know what that is. When I went to school, order of operations was BOMDAS, and then it moved to BODMAS, and PEMDAS is not one that's being used in Australia, but I know that's what's used in the US. Yeah. And the reason I know is because I've taught a lot of kids that, and more than a few adults too. It's absolute basic, but it's vital.
Yeah.
When I went to school, calculators weren't allowed. I did, Math 1 and Math 2, as it was called then, quadratics, etc., etc. I used to use a slide rule, which you get round the banning of the calculators, and I did actually get called out for cheating. And I went home quite upset. And my grandfather, who raised me, he was qualified in 11 areas of engineering, including atomic. He was also a time and motion study expert, and he was the man who taught me to use a slide rule. And my teacher was the maths master, the head of department. And the day after I was failed on my final, there was a knock on the classroom door. My grandfather walked in. He was about 78 then. And he took the teacher to task for it. And his reaction was to basically announce point blank that I had cheated and I had failed. And so my grandfather walked over to the chalkboard, and he put up a problem, and then walked back to the teacher and dropped the slide rule in front of him and said, "Solve it, do it." And he couldn't.
No,
he couldn't.
yeah.
I don't know how to do this and that. And then my grandfather said, "That's right, because you require a quite decent level of mathematics to use a slide rule."
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to use a slide rule. I never learned how. I know of them. I have one just for historical sake, because I'll pull it out every once in a while and make kids laugh. I've never learned how to use one, and for the life of me, I don't know if I could. Maybe if I sat down with a manual or something, I might be able to figure out. But apparently, I mean, you could probably. I think you can do logarithms. You can do almost anything you can on those things.
Yeah, they do trig, log. They're very, very good for all of that. But when worst comes to worst, mate, I've still got all fingers and all toes, so I'm good for base 10. What do you reckon, Trevor?
Exactly. I use my fingers all the time.
I really annoy my kids because I've got an eidetic memory, and I won't say that I'm a lightning calculator because I'm not, but I'm really, really good. Somebody can throw a problem at me and I can break it down to lowest common denominator in my head, work it out at a basic level and multiply it back up again. And my kids sit there and go, how can you do that? And I look at them and say, how can you not?
Well, it's funny. I tell the kids at the beginning of the year, I'm the worst possible math teacher you could have. And they go, what do you mean? I said, I hate numbers. I can't stand numbers. To me, numbers, I almost get dyslexic with numbers. And as a result, I was behind in math in high school. And making a long story short, I was challenged in college to the point where I had to take upper level math courses. And all the courses that required all the number work that I struggled through when I got to things like set theory, topology, and stuff like that, that's where my learning curve shot up when the numbers disappeared and the logic and the theory behind it.
Yeah.
So
concepts.
Yeah. So for me, I was lucky enough to get beyond the barrier of those numbers, and I can do numbers. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain things I have to do in my head to get by the numbers. I kind of wish I had the eidetic memory, but when it comes to the logic and the theory behind the stuff, like the most fascinating course I had was something called real analysis, which is the study of the real number system, which you think isn't very dense, but it is. But the irony of it is, as we studied that, probably one of the more difficult courses a math major has to take, as you're studying the real number system, guess what you don't use when you're studying it?
Real numbers, yeah. Well, numbers,
you don't use any numbers at all, because you got to be able to rationalize infinitely many numbers, and you can only do that with variables. You can't do that with numbers. So
my grandfather had a love affair with mathematics, and now I can do it. I choose not to. As I might have mentioned before, I have 4 trades because it never took me more than about 2.5 years to knock a trade away. And then I left all of that behind and went off and worked in security. But I get bored really, really easy. And I find mathematics dry. When I was doing IT, I went and did program design at university. And all that served to teach me. I mean, I passed the courses, but basically the biggest thing it taught me was I didn't want to be a programmer.
I think I've been the same. It's not because I've been so bored. I've always looked at a new thing as a challenge, and I've wanted to try something else out and see how far I could succeed. Because I'm a stonemason. My first trade I did welding, and then I went plastering, and then that evolved into actually carving solid granite, and so I went into monumental building. And
That
so
sounds
it
fascinating.
all evolved to, and I excelled in granite carving, like with the hammer and maul. In one day, I knocked over 9 headstones and shaped them, and that was without a lesson. I just watched for 2.5 years as the guy that was the lead stonemason, and I just watched him because all I was doing was sweeping floors, doing a bit of polishing, and stacking up granite and working on the granite saw. And then because I watched him, and then all of a sudden he had to go out and do some sales. And that afternoon I'd done everything. I was bored. So I started doing the headstones that was on next order. And I knocked him over in one afternoon. 9 headstones and shaped them without a lesson. And I did listen to that. You always have to listen to granite sing, because when granite, it's got pores and veins and everything in it. And when you hammer it, you've got to listen to the density. And if it doesn't ring, you're going to break something, where you're going to break off something that's not going to be nice, because you can't put granite back together. And that's what I listened. I just learnt all as I went along.
Is that what led you into art?
Pun?
Is that what led you into art, Trevor?
No, art evolved right from a very young age, because my mother was quite a good artist. So even when I was sitting on her lap as a real tiny tacker, I'd play with the oil colours and the pastels and all that. And coming from a big family of 25 she raised, we all did crafts, you see, right from a young age. I learned how to crochet, learned how to knit, learned how to do all sorts of aspects of craft. And that's where that came from.
I can crochet and knit, or I could, but I don't admit that too often. Well,
but the thing is, men that was the main thing, was knitting and crocheting for men in the old days, because they had to do it like with the sailing. They used to knit their hats. What do they call them? Beanies here in Australia. And it was very important that men used to know how to knit and crochet.
Isn't there a certain level of that in making nets too for fishing as well?
Yes.
So it's all practical.
Nets are more like macrame than anything else, really.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got 4 trades. I'll tell you what they are, and this will give you some idea of how bored I get: telecommunications technician, tracer draftsman, cobbler, and master engraver.
Nice.
So, I went every time would finish my time. I was bored. I would go off on a tangent, and then in between that, I did martial arts, firearms instructor, safety officer, range officer. It goes on. All as just as hobbies. So
I mean, I myself, I mean, was more a hobby, but I was a scuba instructor. But my main trade was torturing students with maths.
Yeah, why shouldn't they suffer? We did, so they should.
Exactly. I think I'm just finishing up my 24th year of it, to be honest with you. So
I would not like to be a teacher in today's day and age. Obviously, we've all heard these stories, and our kids are sick to death of hearing them, but I'm sure it was the same there. When I went to school, you didn't get out of line because, you could be caned. Wasn't anything to be hit in the side of the head by a flying blackboard duster if you're getting out of line. And perhaps some teachers did take it too far, but these days we have teachers getting assaulted, stabbed, robbed, bashed, and they're not even game to defend themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we've been instructed to let the kid hit you and then sort it out at the end. That's what I've been told.
Problem is, mate, and I'm not sure the age of the kids that you're dealing with, but when you get into the later years, because kids here don't finish high school till 17 or 18, some of them are pretty big and pretty powerful. I wouldn't like to stand there and let them hit me. What did I do I was a telecommunications technician primarily. I ran a section in repair and test at Telstra, what is now Telstra Workshops in Bulimba. I built the first 3 sets of transmitter receiver boards for cellular phones by hand, the first prototypes. Primarily, I built prototypes. I would get a circuit diagram and a description of what the finished device wanted to do or was supposed to do, and I would check it out and then go down to the stores, book out all the componentry, and etch my own circuit boards for the prototypes, put all the componentry in, wave solder it. Wave solder was a new thing in those days, and present the finished prototype to r.p.a.s, repair and test section, for testing. And then they would send back any variations, which I would have to do. And then once that was finalized, the job was finalized, we would print out a proper PCB layout for it. And the 30 women who were working in my section would then go to work producing the finished product. Okay. And what do you do, Peter? I tell you what, this Rodney Bell Cup is going to kill me because the outside is utterly cold and it's been sitting here for 40 minutes.
I'm getting mine today.
The coffee is so hot.
Yeah, I'm expecting mine today.
Yeah, he's making his inroads on the Australian community. Rodney is a lovely guy.
Yes, he is.
I can't believe how much money he would have had to spend because he's given so many to so many people.
Yep. Look, I'm not going to be crass and
they're not cheap
and talk about figures, but when I got this cup in my hand, just this cup alone, let's not talk about anything else. It's double skin stainless steel. I haven't seen one of these for sale in Australia like this. That's not a cheap.
No, that's what I mean. I'm not going to mention any dollars, but that's not the measure of the man. It's just the generosity. But
yeah,
man, it would have cost a lot of money.
Very generous. He's
not a rich. He might be comfortable, but he's by no means a rich man. You don't retire from the Navy and be rich.
No. He's not a rich man. That's why I find the enormity of it is not how much you have in dollars. It's how much generosity you give to when you have so little.
Yeah.
I interviewed him quite a while back on my channel when I was doing interviews, and he's one of my first ones. And like a week later, I got a T-shirt and one of those mugs from him. I'm like, wait a minute, I interviewed you.
Rodney, I think, really earns the title of a patron of the YouTube, of the droning community.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages everybody who's active. He's a great guy. Peter worked for Ford Australia and retired in 2000. So you retired before they shut down, Peter. That was good timing.
Yeah. And Holden's has only just shut down a few years ago.
Yeah, we have no domestic auto industry anymore.
No.
I just bought a Ford too, second hand, but in good nick.
See, here in South Australia, we have a what would you call it? A subsidy called Elizabeth, and it held the Holden plant there, and that puts so many people out of jobs. Adelaide was supported on Holden.
Ford was a great company to work for. Yeah. I've been a Ford man most of my life, Peter. I've owned Fords all of my life, with a few others in between there. But I don't know why. I just know what I'm getting. I like the formula. I like the big 6-cylinder inline, big car because I've got a big family, so a lot of room in it.
Mm.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, mate. So I heard you saying before that you were getting a bit of flack because you'd been online and making a lot of noise for 3 hours. You must be up about 5 hours now.
Who's that, mate?
Yeah, I thought it was you, Mark, who said that.
No, I haven't been on YouTube that much. I've still been on it sparingly, usually just on your channel or Val's or Roger's. That's about it I've been on, really. I haven't been streaming much. I think I did one stream maybe a week ago or something like that, but I don't spend as much time on YouTube as I used to. Maybe this summer I'll get back into it.
I've slowed down quite a bit. I'm going to ramp up my art channel, but live streamings, I haven't done that one for a couple of months. I've just been going on a few odd, like Claude's channel here, and that's about it.
You posted that piece a little bit ago that I commented on, which really hit the nail on the head for me, Ari, as far as YouTube and some of the things that I had to think about as far as being on YouTube and stuff. So I did appreciate that, by the way. The one, I think you called it a spade is a shovel or shovel's a spade or something like that.
Yeah,
That was brilliant. Well said. I could never put that into words the way you did. So I'm glad somebody did.
well,
It was said very well.
Thanks, guys. Look, Mark, I did appreciate the comment too, because as I said in my reply, I'm not that arrogant that I feel confident putting my opinion out there as if, everyone should defer to my opinion. And I always have that little bit of concern at the back of my mind. I hope that I'm not out of track with the community expectations. But, I've enjoyed my time on here on YouTube. And as I said in that video, I was silly, but I got stars in my eyes. I was very, very wrapped up in the community, and I should have realized it's like any community. There are great people in there, but there are others who aren't so great, or they're not great all the time. And if I want drama, I've had enough drama in my life.
Drama is only brought on if you invite it.
Well, this is it. I'm just choosing. I'm backing off. I do my 2 streams a week and join some of the others. I'm only taking away from it now as much as I want. I decide on what I want, how much of it I want in my life. But when I saw it, like Andrew, as in r.p.a.s Studios, he's a pretty happy-go-lucky, laid-back sort of guy. I've never seen him get upset. And he was, although he was doing his best to...
He's had a couple of quick streams, where he was very upset.
Yeah, he was
that.
I haven't seen those myself, so I don't know.
They were like streams that were like emergency streams. They weren't part of his show. It was when he was upset with these people trying to shut his channel down, which was just justifiable. But he can get quite upset and within reason. Not like he went on a real bad rant one time, but not to make it bad for his channel. It was justifiable because these people were bad to him.
Well, he was upset, but he wasn't using bad language or yelling or carrying on. But you could just tell
the other one he did.
He was quite tense, and so I didn't know the other gentleman concerned, or I'd never seen his channel. I went and had a look. I always make up my own mind on these things, but in this case, Andrew was pretty close. This guy was commenting on sub for sub. He doesn't agree with it. That's
What's
his right.
His channel name? Do I know him?
Oh, I cannot think of it now. I'd have to go. I'll find it out, Trevor. I'll let you know. But essentially, the way he was highlighting on sub for sub was he did a parody of Andrew's channel, and he later on tried to claim that he wasn't referencing Andrew's channel, but he was using exactly the same sound effects, a mock-up of Andrew's wheel. It was just so blatant. And had I been Andrew, I would have gotten my nose out of joint as well. So I just thought, okay, I haven't made an opinion piece or anything like that, and but I want to have my say. If I did it that way, I knew that I could space out my thoughts and my comments in a logical way without getting derailed or set off on a tangent. I had my say and posted it up, and fortunately it was pretty well received. So that's it. I don't know that I will do another opinion piece. Probably I will at some point if something matters enough to me, but I'm not going to get in the business of posting one every second day just on a roster.
No, I understand that. I'd be curious about that if you're willing to share it at some point. I'd be curious to see about that channel too.
Okay, just chat around, guys. I'll see if I can find it.
I think we lost Manic. Put himself on mute for a second. And what happened to Nacho? Did he get relieved from this job?
Yes, I would say so. He's probably headed off home. Oh, no. He's just said be right back. He's probably had to go and do a medical job.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of time for Dennis. He's definitely a diamond in the rough, but being Australian, I'm used to dealing with that. Just having a look. I'll find this this video.
Well, I'm curious. I'm just a little bit of small talk while you're looking for it. How do the people in Australia feel about the conspiracy that you folks don't exist?
I've never even heard of that conspiracy, but I tell you what, they're getting pretty testy about Julian Assange being extradited to the US.
I'm sure. But no, there's a conspiracy that apparently Australia doesn't even exist. Not just the people, the whole country.
I can assure you that we exist. Yeah.
Well, you must be part of the conspiracy then.
I am. Yeah.
You're just a British actor being paid to say that.
That's right. Exactly.
That's what they'd be saying right now. Just kidding, of course, but it's just hysterical to hear that.
Well, once I finished assassinating presidents from the grassy knoll and faking the moon landing, they had to find something for me to do. The gentleman's name is Michael Feyrer, F-E-Y-R-E-R, Michael Feyrer Jr.
Never heard of him.
And he runs another facilitation channel, not unlike Andrew's, about building other people's channels, but he doesn't have the following that Michael has. Andrew has. He's 1.3K. There he is. All right, there we go. Now I'll find my thing. Okay. I'm just going to put a link.
There's not. So it looks like he's gearing up to ride home.
Yep.
Is he on his motorbike? Is he? I'm just going to get chat on my phone.
Okay, there's a link in chat. That's got that video from Mr. Feyrer Jr. Don't get me wrong. If he's of the opinion that sub for sub's a bad thing, then all the power to him. He's got my total support to think that. But there's just ways of doing things. As we say here, I will fight to the death to protect his right to be so mistaken.
I'm just looking at his tagline right here. I mean, how can he make the statement that it's going to ruin your live streams? I mean, I don't know. Are there statistics that state?
Well, I suppose there are. I don't know about ruining your live stream. Live stream, that's rubbish. But look, there are a small subsection of people is to get the most number of subs, and that's all they're here for. And I think that's a little bit sad. But if, like I said in my stream, if it makes them happy, then go to it. Lay on Macduff. Well,
that's what YouTube is. It's an open platform. You do what you want. Hopefully, it's not harmful to anybody, but
it'll only harm yourself because I did a lot of sub building. That's how I put it. Because you never know who you're going to follow or who's going to follow you back. And you don't know how you're going to connect at the end of the day, because what happens is they all rushes through, right? And you're going to miss them. Mm-hmm. And if you miss them, you might lose some of the best channels of your life. When I say that, I say it jokingly because, at the end of the day, we've got our real lives. And, but you will get a big number by those different channels. Like, I'll give you an example, Passion Hunting and Fishing. He does a lot of sub building, and I've got a lot of subscribers from his channel. It was actually, one was 185 in one day I got subscribers.
Amazing.
But a big percent I actually communicate with, because I'm into fishing as well. Well, I've always lived by water. So it's an activity that I do on the weekends or whatever. At my stage, I can do it any time I like. But some of them just won't. They're people that just don't follow as well. But that's not a big deal. They don't have to watch your videos, because at the end of the day, it's not hurting anyone else but yourself. So what harm is that?
Look, I just, as I said in the stream, I sub everybody who subs to me simply so that I can find them with ease later because when I want to go back and have a look.
Exactly.
And generally speaking, I'm whittling down on the amount of bells I've got ticked because I'm getting all together too many notifications. I can't keep up with them.
I had 16,000 notifications the other day that I'm still going through to get rid of.
I couldn't do that.
No.
I had to go and have a look. I didn't know. I've got 245 subs, so I've been fairly static for a couple of weeks. But with the time I've had off, I'm not surprised. I went up like a rocket at first. I don't really mind. I'd like to get to 1,000 to live stream, but that's really the only significance the number has for me. I try because I do have a bit of an anxiety. I try to forget the fact that I'm streaming live to the world and anybody could watch. I've mentioned this before. I tend to look at YouTube as being a big conference call. I'm talking to my friends, and I just don't think about anything else. That's how I deal with it.
I do the same thing when we're live streaming. I don't think about the fact that we're on the air. It's to me, it's like the old CB radio days, and we're just all hanging out talking.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Who's on?
Yeah, so I'm going to whittle my notification bells down to just a small number of the ones that connect with me for droning and art purely and fishing, and that's about it. There's so many others out there, like even the food, cooking and whatnot. There's too many of them that I've got notified.
Dennis is out there writing. We'll give him a bit of a soundtrack. Born to be wild.
Okay.
Why does that always make me go faster?
Okay, Ari, I appreciate you having me on. It's time I get stuff done and packed up and things ready for tomorrow. But I'm glad I was able to come on for a little bit. Thanks.
Mark, I greatly enjoy having you. I always say that, but it genuinely holds true with you. You're somebody who's always welcome.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're a good person, Mark.
I appreciate that, Trevor. Nacho, Dennis, take care, man. Have a good one. Drive safe.
You too. Have fun.
Yep. Bye-bye.
I just saw that comment by Peter Carroll. Where has he been for the last 68 years if Australia doesn't exist? I thought I had heard of every single conspiracy theory, but I had never heard that Australia didn't exist.
I did a few months back. They reckon America is the only place is America, and there's a big dome. And what they do is they project it off this dome, and Australia doesn't exist. And there's people on YouTube that actually believe that, like the flat earthers.
Well, there are, a great deal of people believe that the Earth is flat still, God forbid, and they believe that the moon landing was faked and all of this sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know why people believe that. I would like to credit everybody with more smarts than that, but apparently not.
Another one was they reckon they turn everyone back when they try to get to Antarctica by military, and no one can actually go to Antarctica.
Okay.
That was a theory I heard on YouTube on a panel that were very serious about it.
How fast are you going, Dennis?
What's that?
How fast are you going?
I am doing 59 miles per hour.
Oh,
right
dear.
Now.
I miss riding.
Getting on the highway. Now I'm doing 70 miles per hour, 80 miles per hour.
Are you coming?
90 miles per hour. I'm heading for dinner.
All right.
Oh, that explains it. You see, when he's going to work, he's doing 40 miles an hour. When he's coming home from work, he does 90 miles an hour.
Pretty much. I go to work through the back streets, so I go home on the highway.
When you pass Carl's Jr., would you pick me up a double cheeseburger, thanks?
I don't think I'll be passing Carl's Jr. I'm going to pick up meatball sub.
I like those meatball subs.
I'll have turkey, thanks.
The first time I had a meatball sub, I was going to the movie theatre. And I was younger and I was wearing all white, like something. and I had meatballs all down my brand new white hoodie, and it wasn't a good look.
No, really. Shocking.
Peter Carroll says he flew over Antarctica in 2001. Did you get cold, Peter? I thought about flying over Antarctica, but my arms would get tired.
Right?
Yeah.
So later on, I've got to, what have I got to do? I have got to reload that server, and I've got to complete an arrangement for Brothers in Arms for my son. And what else? There's bound to be something else. I can't remember now. Oh, wash the car again. That's right.
All that orange dust.
Nice and warm in the 747. Oh, that's cheating, Peter, going in the 747.
What's 747?
Well, he went in the 747 when he flew over Antarctica. I reckon that's cheating.
Oh.
You notice that I've taken to doing my live streams with my hair down. That's so that nobody sends me a parcel bomb.
Why is that, Ari?
Oh, I announced a while back, a week or so ago, I told Val, we were in Val's life, and I told her I was going to cut my hair at the end of the year. It's been 20 years I've been on the Nazarite vow. I was going to pack it in and cut my hair, and I actually got hate mail. Well, maybe that's too strong a word. Let's just say I got extremely strongly suggested that I do not. And my wife and daughter feel the same way. So I sort of figure I'm a bit old for the long hair business, but it looks like I'm going to keep it a while longer.
All right, Thor.
Yeah, all Australians look like that, mate. Why do you think they picked an Australian to play Thor?
I'm such an idiot. I reached down in my pocket thinking I dropped my phone. Meanwhile, my phone's on the handlebars filming.
That's right. That's a fight, isn't it? I had Mikey tell me I looked like a blonde Jesus.
A blonde Jesus. Yeah, Thor, he has a bromance with Matt Damon. Matt Damon comes to Australia quite regularly and hang out with him, which I don't mind. I like Matt Damon. I reckon he's a really good actor.
Well, Chris lives, I was literally within about 3 miles of his house last night when I took my daughter's friend home down to over the border. I thought about dropping in for a cuppa, but I didn't know whether he was busy or anything.
He might have been doing his hair too.
Yeah, that's right. That's the problem. It's always getting knots in it.
Yeah. It was the night that he had to wash his hair, so he was busy.
That's one of the things. I don't ever cut my hair. No blade touches it, but I wash every day and condition every third day and blah, 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 blah. It's fairly intensive. And don't forget the Rodney Bell shirt, Brent. You can't. I know I've arrived in YouTube when I get a shirt and a cup. Yeah, not you or me, Peter. Like I said on the other stream, I used to have wavy hair. It's starting to wave goodbye.
Mm.
You like that, did you, Dennis?
I did. I'm rewording it to steal it, but
feel free. Everything I'm
trying to
public domain.
So some of Aries' quotes are quite stealable. They're all worthwhile still, if that's a word. I'll make it a word anyway.
I put some thought into them, mate. I like them to be, my sayings are either profound or profane. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, I used to when I was younger. I don't do so much. I used to have a lot of quotes of wisdom, and a lot of my friends used to like them because I was unique in that way. Like I used to say, may all your ups and downs be between silk sheets and things like that.
Go ahead, Dennis.
If somebody steals my phone, let me know. I can hear you. I'll be listening as I go into the store.
Okay.
But I won't. If you see it suddenly moving.
Dennis, did you send a large African-American gentleman to pick up your phone for you?
I did.
Yeah, that's right then. Peter Carroll, Peter's waved goodbye many years ago. Well, Peter, going by the men in my family, I'm never going to go totally bald, but as my grandfather used to say, if you have a bald spot on top, you're sexy, and if you have a receding hairline, you have great brain power. So I guess that means I'm always thinking about it.
That's quite good.
Yeah, my grandfather was a very great influence in my life. I'm always quoting him. He's been gone now since 1991, and I sort of feel that he should still be here. But then, when I work out the maths, he'd be 111 if he was still alive, so maybe not.
In my 20s, I looked identical to my dad, even down to the beard when I had my beard longer, like probably double the length, and quite well groomed. But he actually ended up being quite bald. And we're lucky enough, I'm only just a bit thin. I'm not bald.
If I can ask, Trevor, how old are you?
I'm 48.
Oh, you're only a baby.
Yeah, I'm not too old yet.
Wow, got the penny for me today, hey? Putting the rest of them back that I owe you.
Where's your bagel?
Hot sauce ketchup?
That's true, Peter. And when I ride on the motorcycle with long hair,
thank you.
It's a pain in the rear. The knots out.
Yeah. I used to have long hair younger.
My motorcycle's off the road currently, and that's annoying the hell out of me.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at this.
To be honest, I want a bigger one. I rode for 30. Oh, what are we having? Oh, that's what
meatball sub.
Yeah, meatballs. No bagels today.
Bagels breakfast.
Oh, you had your bagels.
I had my bagel this morning.
Cool.
I got a nice toasted sandwich for breakfast. My wife brought it in to me. Just excuse me from the keyboard. I'll be back in a second.
Yep. I had a toasted cheese sandwich for breakfast.
I had breakfast 14 hours ago and really didn't eat much today, so the sandwich is going to be yummy.
I had my breakfast only a couple of, just before Val's life.
Right.
Yeah.
I could go to bed.
Yeah, I was on Nay's stream today, but I didn't talk because I'm not too happy with the banner that he sent me, but I'm not going to use it.
Wait, what?
With Nay, Interactive DNA. He did a banner for me, and I'm not happy with it.
Why not?
It's a mishmash of the logo that he did. It was like a ball of plasticine that he just wrapped up and say here and sent it off to email for me to use. And if you see the stream or bits of it, you'll understand why.
Well, I'd like to see it, but I can't really look now.
No, that's exactly right.
I'm gonna, because crashing on your motorcycle sucks. Crashing on your motorcycle when you have a brand new meatball sub ready
and trying to eat it through the helmet is tough too.
Would you do me a favor?
Not to mention, if I crash, they'll take me back to the ER I just spent 12 hours in. I don't want to go back there. Just let me die on the street with my sandwich.
If you absolutely have to crash, would you please do it on my channel? Think of the subs I'm going to get.
No, exactly.
Oh, definitely. But you just got to, you got to restream it to me if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool, mate.
Save me.
Well, you can still have your YouTube channel and participate while you're in hospital. Ken Heron did.
True. He was still
under.
He live streamed his colonoscopy. Not exactly sure that I would do that, but
did he give the internal view?
No. Brent Nunley says that you got the 6-inch, right, Dennis?
I got bigger.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I had my YouTube channel and I was able to live stream when they put a camera down my vein, down to the bottom of my leg, nearly down to my ankle. What they did was they put a sieve with claws on it, So the sieve would go down and take out all the poison because it affected my kidneys. So it was all hooked there so it wouldn't dislodge. And it was a sieve. So it'd filter all the poison so it wouldn't go to my kidneys. And they put a camera down it to chase after it and lasso it to remove it. They had to lasso the claws to close them up. And I could see this on a big screen, like 5 meters by 5 meters screen. And I was able
big screen.
I was able to watch it.
Yep.
Why they did it, but I wasn't allowed to move.
I watched them put a pick line into my heart on the big screen. That was it. And then they went the wrong way.
Really?
They went up the, I think it was carotid up towards my brain. If you want to see what I look like on the inside, I can show you, Trevor. It's not a problem.
Mm.
He thinks I'm kidding, Dennis.
You got a video of it?
I don't.
No.
Kidding at all.
No, I haven't got a video. But when I had one of my surgeries, I said to the doc, I said, listen, doc, would you mind taking a couple of photos while you're in there, taking the bits of the ribs out? I've got more here, but I just, they're all stuck away.
Yeah, the doctor gave me the sieve, put it in a little jar so I could take it, but it was confiscated by the hospital because in case a family member or someone else picked it up.
Dennis, you sound like Darth Vader in that thing.
Mm.
Sound like or smell like?
Because it was classed as hazardous material because, one, it was in a very poisonous area. Because I had holes in my legs where you could touch it and they'd spurt out heaps of pus.
Well, the thing that I found hardest was when I was having radiation treatment, I wasn't allowed to hug the kids.
Oh, that'd be tough.
Yeah, because I was toxic.
Yeah, toxic.
Wasn't even supposed to scratch the cat or pat the dog. It was interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, and it's really funny because they come out, mate, and they're wearing a lead-lined apron and what looks like a lead-line, welding helmet, and they literally have a lead-covered syringe. And they say to you, "Oh, but don't worry, the levels of radiation in here won't be harmful to you." Yeah, good.
When I was chicken farming, we used to have guys going out and spray all the sheds out after the chickens were all cat caught. After I had cleaned the sheds out so they were pristine. So they actually had sterilizer, right? And he was in the shed washing off the excess sterilizer spray off his ute. And he was saying, "Oh, it's harmful. You don't need to have any protective clothing." And while he was washing the ute, you could see where the paint was coming off. Like, and that's what it does to the paint. Well, what's it doing to you?
What was that, Dennis?
Are you covered with paint? No, don't worry about it.
Yeah. This is from a medical professional. It must be right.
It's a wonder you're not glowing there, Nacho.
What's that?
Being in the hospital environment, it's a wonder you're not glowing.
In the dark.
Yeah, that slightly green tinge.
Why? Did you think this light-hearted personality was natural?
Yeah, it was your personality. You were born with it.
Well, that's it. Well, I don't know, Dennis. I'm seriously considering that when I logged on to my YouTube stream this morning, I got a warning that Hangouts is going away soon. I am seriously considering at least trialing Zoom for a month or two.
I've already got Zoom connected, but I'm not using it currently.
Yeah, that's the client. You've got to pay so much per month to use to stream.
Right. I'm only just got client connected.
But look, as I can't think of who it was Curtis, I think. Curtis said that, there are other options, but you can use OBS alone to stream, but it's fairly taxing on your link. And if it's all right, $14.99 US, so probably about $20 Australian per month for Zoom. Says Brent, meatballs.
Meatballs. Yeah, I'm a class act, right?
And what type of roll did you get, Dennis?
Tastes like garlic bread.
Tell you, just as well Thomas O'Sullivan's not here, he'd be abusing you at this point.
Well, I would turn the camera because I wouldn't want to torture him.
I would.
I never torture anybody who's trying to do better.
I don't know why he is so worried about coming on the camera. He's actually not a bad-looking guy. You know, he's younger than us and better looking than us.
It's not really saying much, though, is it?
He's a good bloke. Take my tutor off this. Oh, dear. No, I don't need to restring it again yet. It's one thing with 14 guitars in the house, I'm always stringing one or the other.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Brent says you need to take slow bites.
No. How's that? No.
Dennis inhales his food. I got to buy myself a new capo, or capo as Americans would say, and they want $90 for one.
Oh boy. Honestly, you go to sleep right now. I can just like go to sleep.
My problem is I've got to put together a fingerstyle arrangement of brothers and arms that's still simple enough for a 15-year-old to play. Oh, dear.
I don't know the song.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I don't know the song.
Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler, Brothers in Arms. Oh, dear. Fortunately, I knew it when he asked for it. You inhale your food as well, do you, Brent? I've got to pace myself, I must admit.
I work in healthcare. It's the only way you get to eat at all.
Yeah, that's it. If you don't rush it, you never get it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. I don't fingerstyle very often, so I'm out of practice. That's not right, you know. I'll work on it later when I'm on a live camera. We need more people on the panel so I can mute and play in the background like I normally do.
I don't know what I need.
And what time? Sorry?
I don't know what I need. A nap?
What time is it there now, Dennis?
5 minutes after 7 p.m.
All right. So you got a few hours before you go to bed then?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Depends on who makes you an offer, right?
No. Honestly, I'd like to talk to Ron. Like after I eat my sandwich, I'm going to call Ron and see where he is and if he wants to meet up tomorrow. If not, I'm happy to sit home and rest.
Yeah, call him so that we can all mock him.
So that'd be later on.
Yeah, that's later, Ron.
Mm.
You're a tease.
Mm-hmm.
Me?
Later on.
Dennis is only a tease when he's awake. The rest of the time, he's perfectly good.
Yes, that meatball sandwich looks quite good.
Oh, here they go.
Well, it did. Was that from Subway, or do you have meatball sandwiches from sidewalk stalls?
It's Subway.
There's this cheesesteak store near me called Billy's something, and I stopped in there just to check it out a couple weeks ago, and I was like, everything is so good. It's my reward on a Sunday night after busting my behind all weekend. I need to switch devices. My phone battery's going dead, and I can't call Ron for your entertainment if I'm using the phone to stream.
Brent's already in bed. Brent's on his iPad.
Hey, how do I get out of here?
Yeah, I had an auntie that used to eat very, very fast. And she wasn't a big lady or anything. She just ate fast. Like she used to talk fast too, though.
Yeah, I have to slow myself down, and I do tend to wolf things if I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing. Well, I'm going to pack it in shortly, guys, considering I've got a fair bit to do, and then I've still got to pick up the kids in another 2.5 hours from school. Well, you know, it's a hard life if you don't weaken, or a good life if you don't weaken.
Yeah, I've got to take the doggy down to the lake, and then
Zigzag's getting a walk, is he?
She is, yeah. She's going to be getting a walk. She wasn't settling. What she does is she'll go to next door's front yard and sit there, because one more door over, she can actually see the lake. So then all of a sudden she'll think, oh, as soon as I turn my head, she'll wander down to the lake.
Zigzag, come on, sit up.
No, she's sitting under the grass out there. You could probably just see her there. She's just there through the doorway under the grass. But I've got the headphones so she can't hear you.
Oh, that's no fun. Would she have then come if she'd heard me?
Maybe if I turn the headphones off. 1 sec.
Zigzag, come on, sweetheart. Zigzag. Did she look? Try now.
Yeah, try now.
Zigzag, come on, sweetheart. Zigzag.
She can hear
you. She's going, I don't know that voice.
She just sort of glanced and that's it.
Yeah.
I
love my animals. I miss my golden retrievers a lot. I'd like to get another one, but you know, as I don't need to tell you, to look after them properly with vet and good food and all the tablets, it's not cheap.
That's exactly right. And she's now 15, so I've got to now, because I can't bath her properly, so I go down to the car wash, and that costs me $10, but that's not a big expense. But she likes that treatment. I washed her hair the other day under the shower in the tub, but that was a hard effort. I have to like cut her hair because now because she has a lot of hair, because she's 15, because she's got leakage.
Yep.
Like old people. And so she hasn't got much time to go. But she's number one, and so I've got to make sure she doesn't get irritated butt or whatever.
Yep.
Because it will.
Okay, Peter, $99 is a good price for a Logitech C922. I think RRP down here is $129. I paid $99 for mine as well. Yes, from memory, it works with Windows XP and up, so Windows 7 will be no problems. And just for your information, I am running mine without software. I do not have any software installed for mine. It just plugs straight into the hub and running off Windows own software.
Yeah, I could get mine off Amazon, and mine's a Logitech 930E Zoom, and you could pick them up for $85 off of Amazon with a stand with it.
Mine comes with a stand. It's got a little tripod on it. There's not a lot of difference between the 930 and the 922. The 922 is slanted towards web streamers, and the 930 is slanted towards business conferencing. And really the only difference is, that's the Wivenhoe dam wall coming up on my little window in window.
Okay.
The 930 software is a little less full featured than the 922 because it's aimed at business. But I don't use the software, so either camera would have done me fine.
Yeah, I don't have any software for mine.
Yeah, that footage on my little window in window, that's all taken with the Mavic 2 Zoom, as you can probably tell by the way it's zooming out there now. That's oh dear. That's all out at Wivenhoe Dam. I've got a lot of footage there that I haven't yet posted. Look, I can give you an example, Peter. Hold on a moment. I'll change over to that microphone. Oh, no, I won't do it by muting it. Okay, wait a sec. Microphone. Dear, nine. That's it. I got 8. Okay, that's the Logitech 922 microphone. It has a stereo inbuilt microphone, 2 of them on either side. It's twice as far away from me as the Razer desktop mic, but that's the internal microphone on the 922 that you're listening to now. I don't know how
it's not as loud because it's probably the distance where it's located.
Well, now I'm probably
now it's right.
Yeah, now I'm about as far from it as I am.
And that's fine. Yeah, that's adequate for live streaming.
Yep. I shall change back. I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8 microphones and 9 video input devices to choose from. So I'm never short.
Is that what you've got available, Ari? Yeah.
That's what I've got available between using a notebook, 2 webcams, the external Razer microphone, and the various virtual ins and outs from virtual cable and this sort of thing. If I want to use processing, I've got that many. Did you get on to Roger? Roger.
Ron. Later on.
Yeah,
later on.
Did you get on to Ron, Dennis?
No, I'm still eating.
Still. Yep.
At least they're not brownies.
Don't start me on the brownies.
Oh, he was so funny today, Paul was. On Bow's Live.
That Paul, he's such a card.
Yeah, I love his low tech streaming with his call cards and that. I think that's quite clever.
He's a good bloke. There are some really good people in the community. I enjoy his company and Val's and Rogers and Claude's, and Mark's good. He's always good value. Mark's a thinker, which I appreciate. That Dennis, he's a bit of a pain, but I put up with him.
What prick.
All right, you take care, mate. I'll be off shortly myself, so take care. But at the moment, the 922 is considered to be the benchmark, and at $99, I don't consider that too expensive.
Yep, that's right. See, I'm trying to convince my mate to get a webcam because he's been just using his Action Cam 5, and it's all of a sudden it overheats or something, and it stops his streams.
Yeah,
and it's messing up. I said, because he works and gets a check every month. He's a farmer. He's 12 though, but he still gets a paycheck. And I said, just go out and buy yourself one. Don't be so cheap. Trying to convince him it's hard.
Well, you know, especially if he's a farmer, they get used to watching their dollars, mate.
They do. They do. They do.
That $90 can be another, you know, another set of shoes for the kids or whatnot.
Exactly.
I started off when I got on the first time I used the inbuilt webcam on this notebook, which was all right. It wasn't great. I could probably pull it out. Hang on a second. Where are we? Yep, there it is. That's the one. That's the internal one on the notebook. As you can see, it's a bit grainy and pixelated. It works, but you know, it's okay. And yeah, there we go back to that's the 922 through OBS.
This is my $20 Amazon camera.
Well,
that I'm on now.
If you went and bought an expensive one, we could see you in exquisitely high definition detail. So please don't do that.
You got it. If I turn the lights on, it works better. It doesn't really, not a real low light kind of thing.
See, I haven't got my lights on because it's not really needed at the moment. I've got the sunshine through here. That's what I'm trying to experience. I love the sunshine coming in here.
I don't have light set up. I get by on the room light, and I can pull the curtain and get the natural light in here. But that's all I really use.
Mm. Yeah, because we're only here having a chin wag, and I don't bother putting the lights on then.
All right, guys, I am going to call it at this point. I've got a computer and I don't want to do it. So I know that if I let myself, I'll procrastinate and never get it done.
Me too. I'm the same. I'll catch you, mate.
Bye, Peter. And catch up
you guys in the chat.
And I'll catch you, well, later tonight, my time, Dennis, if you're around. But if you're not, I'll know that you and Ron are out painting the town red.
I wonder what we're going to do. All righty. Good night.
Thanks, buddy. Bye, everyone.